Welcome everyone to the conference. Have you ever had a superior stand up in front of you or your team and share accolades about you to the whole group? And some of them were true and some of them were not really true. And you wondered, where did they get this information from? Welcome Texas women and girls to this in STEM Summit participants and those excited about hearing strategies, developing leadership skills for engagement, and having a leader who really connects with you. Some of the principles that I will share with you are strategies that you can use in any setting, and as well as some things that you can use in the classroom. I've used many of these to help me over the years to work with students to help them to develop leadership skills. My name is Greta Newman, and I have been a professional teacher for children in North America in a variety of settings in North America and in other parts of the world as well. I have also worked with training adults in leading large groups and helping them to work together and to accomplish varying tasks. I enjoy teaching and learning about leadership, and I hope that the strategies that I've shared today you will enjoy and that you will find helpful in helping you fine-tune your leadership skills and those you work with. Leadership is defined as leading a group of people or an organization to act towards achieving a common goal. A leader is someone who can see some things and can improve on and rally people to move towards the better vision. Leaders can work towards making their vision a reality while putting people first. Leaders can be empathetic and connect with people to be and see how best they can work together and get the job done while being successful. As I started our meeting today, I greeted everyone in the very beginning by saying welcome or hello by your name. Knowing the person's name or all the people's names on your team is very important. Imagine you walked into a room of all your teammates and no one could remember your name. How would that make you feel? But rewind and try that scenario again. Imagine that you walked into a room of all your teammates and colleagues and everybody greeted you by name and they welcomed you into the room and they started up the conversation. And how did you feel then? Many times people say, oh, it's just hard to remember people's names and they don't think it's very important, or they say, oh, I'll learn it later. But there's power in really knowing and connecting with the leaders on your team and those that you work with. So knowing the person's name, and not just their name, but knowing more about them really helps to connect you with the team and helps you want to work with others and be developed as a leader. As a leader, you need to also recognize your own strengths and needs. Oftentimes you're paired up with people that are either like you or different from you, and there's always something that you can learn from working with those around you. As you recognize your strengths, you can recognize strengths in others. It's important to have a team that's balanced. So you want to, as a leader, you want to look for people who can sharpen you, as the quote says, iron sharpens iron. But you also want to get people who have skills, a skill set that you may not already have. Welcome. You also want to make sure that you are, as a leader, wanting to develop yourself. When people that serve and work under you know that you are working at different skills to help you to be a better leader or a better in the specific field that you're in, then they'll want to follow you because they see that you're moving forward and that you're looking for ways to improve your skills. You also want to be a leader who is organized, and have a plan. How many of you, maybe yesterday, went to a meeting and you realized that your boss or the person that was leading the meeting did not have an agenda or a schedule, and you were just sitting and time was ticking by, and you really felt like I could have used my time more efficiently if I had known, or if the leader had come with a clear plan. Oftentimes people do have agendas, but they do stray from them. And if that's something that it happens on a regular basis, as a leader, it's important to stay on task and to make the best use of everyone's time. As a leader, you also want to recognize the strengths and needs of those on your team. When you're able to learn to know the strengths of others, then you can hopefully help them to continue to strive to higher goals. But if you know their needs, you can also realize that there's some tasks or some things that they need help and assistance in. I remember one time I had a boss where the person was saying that they needed extra help, or they needed someone to assist them in understanding a task that was given to them. And the boss really said, well, I hope you figure it out. And that was not the type of environment that that particular person needed to help them fulfill their assignment. They did eventually find someone who was skilled in that area, and that actually was their job, and asked for assistance and was able to find out how to do the job, but it just was not their skill set, and that job would have been best given to someone else. When you're a leader, you need to set SMART goals. And we know, or may have heard, that SMART stands for specific, measurable, accepted, reliable, and time-bound. We want to be specific on our goals as leaders, because when you are clear on what the task is, people are able to easily come alongside you and assist in getting that specific job or task done. It's important that it's measurable, because we need to know what the win is. A win for one person might not be a win for the other. And if people don't know what that win is, if they don't know what the end goal is, or what the boss or team leader feels is the win, then they might focus on something else and realize that they have missed the mark because they weren't clear on what was the true focus of that leader. You also want to have accepted goals, or goals that you can actually accomplish, because sometimes people are dreamers, or they cast a vision more wider than what people are able to really accomplish in the time frame that's given to them. And it's important we want to make sure that people are able to accept the responsibility and be able to work together in order to accomplish that goal. And it needs to be clear, it needs to be accepted by the group, or at least aligned with the vision of what the job or role has to entail. You also want your goal to be reasonable in all aspects. Can all the people that are assigned to the task or assigned to the group, are they able to or have the resources to get all the tasks done? And you also want to make sure that it's time bound, that you have a deadline. Sometimes if you have a deadline that's too far away, the time or the task can get away from you, and you can really not be as efficient or effective as you thought you would be, because you had too much time. And I believe many of us felt like that when the pandemic first started, and many of people started off thinking that they would accomplish so much during their time at home, and then they realized after a year, those many books that they thought they were going to read, or the large assignment of cleaning the whole house and reorganizing and restructuring everything, didn't not necessarily get fulfilled as they thought that it would be. Although there are some people that did get a lot done. So kudos to those who were able to accomplish those measurable and SMART goals. But a leader needs to or wants to recognize what skills that they have from others, and they want to remain helpful in helping the team work together and accomplish all their tasks at one time. When I talked about organizing, I really want to emphasize that it's important for you to when you walk into a meeting, that you are clear and communicate well what the job or the task is. A lot of times people give out agendas and or need to break off in smaller groups to talk about things that only focused on that one particular person or group. So it's okay to adjust the schedule or the plan while you're moving, but make sure that it's really aligned and helpful for everyone to get their needs met and for them to move forward on their job or responsibility. As I mentioned, you want as a leader to cast a vision and cast it in a way where people are excited, leave the meeting or leave reading the information or document excited about the next phase of your leadership position or the job's focus. As a leader, you also want to make sure that you're positive. Having a positive attitude and sharing the vision for your company or your project in a positive way really helps people get excited and stay excited and encouraged to work for a long period of time on that specific assignment. I, as a leader, sometimes have an opportunity to talk to different people that are in my team, and I talk to them and I try to give them encouraging messages or say, tell them or support them by sharing things that they've done well and encourage them to keep moving forward on the task. Having a positive attitude and being patient too is also key to help people to be to continue to move forward on your team and to be a good leader, because people want to be around people that encourage them and help them to want to continue on that goal. You also want to be a person that has words of encouragement for people. Sometimes as a leader, I will leave messages for my employees and or coworkers or team members, just little notes. Sometimes they're anonymous, sometimes I sign them, and I just leave notes or quotes to inspire them to want to keep doing their job or their assignment, or just to say, I see you and I understand that you're working hard, and hopefully this quote or this saying or this positive note will encourage you to continue and enjoy being a part of this team. You're valuable, you're seen, and we appreciate all that you do, seen and unseen. You want to be strategic about being a leader, and you want to critically think about the people on your team. Think about those that can work together or have successfully worked together in the past, and those who may need assistance in working together in the future. You also want to align people who have skill sets that will sometimes complement each other, but we know in the real world, sometimes you get the opportunity to work with people that you may not have picked as your first choice. When you are a leader, it's important to be strategic about who you have worked together, but then also help them to acquire the skills that they need to be successful and get the job or task done. Sometimes they may need more information, they might need more direction, or maybe they need a mentor or someone that can share with them ways to better do their job, or they just need some clarity on what is the most important thing to do at that particular time in the project. You also want to be flexible. There are times that people do need a little more time to accomplish something, or they just need to be heard to share and be comfortable to share things that are going on in their life. Sometimes you even have people who are really personal and they don't really like to share their personal problems or situations with the people around them. So it's important as a leader to be able to see and know the people that are on your team, because you might have someone who's always on 100 and they're just doing everything great and they're just have all hands on deck, and you're like, this person's just wonderful. But then there might be something that's happening behind the scenes where they really are struggling in an area, maybe even personally, it doesn't deal with, it doesn't really, you think that it doesn't affect your team, but it really is something that you can say, hey, take a minute, gather, what you need to move forward and jump back on the project. So really having an open communication and being open-minded with those that you work with is helpful, because people will realize that you realize that they have needs and that can be expressed, or you can at least know them well enough that you know that if they're not running on 100 at all times, that there's something that you can see and talk to them about, to let them know that they don't have to necessarily share it, but you're there to support them and encourage them, as they are a valuable member of your team, and they're not as easily replaced as some people tend to think that they may or may not be on different jobs. So you want to be open-minded. You also want to be authentic, be real. As a leader, sometimes people think that leaders never make mistakes and they're always just making every decision right. And sometimes as a leader, there are times where you do make mistakes, or you do have something that you can change to make better or to be more efficient. And when you do that, when you are honest with your team and you say, you know what, we're going this one direction and I realize this is not as profitable as I thought it was, let's switch and let's pivot and do something differently. And when they see that you are able to share that with them, then they're actually excited and realize that you are someone that really wants to develop them. You're developing as a leader, and they can follow you and learn those skills and really want to actually become a better leader and helper as well. And so it's important for us to be able to do that. And it really helps having the environment be an easier place to work, because you realize that everybody is being authentic and everybody's being real, and everybody knows that people are not perfect, and there's things that people are learning and improving every day. If you could please type in the chat what one leadership skill that I mentioned previously that you may want to work at improving on in your life, maybe in the new year. If you could take a minute and type in the chat one of the leadership skills that you might want to use in the new year. Welcome to everyone that just joined the meeting. The first half of my presentation was about leadership skills that can be used in a variety of settings. And then the second part of my presentation will be about leadership skills that I have used and I'm working currently on with my students. I am an educator of children, and I've worked with adults as well, and worked with helping people improve their skills in leadership, as well as working in team building areas as well. And it's all really works hand in hand. So if you could type in the chat what leadership skill you may want to be working on more in the new year. And then also in the chat, if you want to type in what area or what your a general role that you might be, a field that you're in right now, if you're an educator, if you're a business owner, or what type of, what brought you to the summit. Okay, great. Anna said she's an educator. Stephen said empathy. Dawn said recognizing that no one is perfect and we might need extra time. Anna said, I like the notes tip as tool to allow team members to feel seen. Is it Michaela? I'm sorry, the feed is kind of going fast. Okay, recognizing other people's skill sets. Okay, okay, so Abby is the program coordinator. Okay, great. Welcome. Welcome. Gathering folks around vision. Yes, vision casting can be a lot of fun, and there's so many different ways that you can vision cast. Some people actually have, I've been invited to vision casting parties where people have given, a packet out, and it has all of the goals and the new things that they're planning on doing, and they invite people to be on different teams to work together, and on a specific assignment. Sometimes people are just given a invitation and they're like, you're invited to be on this team. And everybody's like, yay. And some people are like, yay. And then they're like, what does that mean I have to do? And then you get to explain to them their role and why they're valuable and why they were picked to be a part of that team. So there's lots of different ways to, as a leader, to encourage your team to buy in to what you want them to do and be a part of. And hopefully their skill set aligns with what they're being asked to do. And they will be just excited and wanting to be be a part of the team, and then also be a part of the vision that you have for that area. And it's just a great opportunity to get everybody on the same page. How many people have ever well, as a teacher, this happens to me not too often, but I'll say, ask my students to take out a book, and then I'll say, okay, turn to page 52. And I'll say, Johnny, read the top of page 52. And then Johnny will be on page 53. And I'll say, okay, wait, that's not the right spot in the story. And then we have to get everybody in the class on the same page, on the same paragraph. So everybody's saying the same thing, doing the same thing, and on the same task, so that we can all really get things done that we need to. And it's just really a great when everybody's in sync. It makes the time go by quick, and makes everybody really enjoy the products that they're working on, because they see that they are able to play a part in it and be successful. And that's what we all want. We want people to be successful. We want to get the task or job done. And I say, why not have fun doing that as well in the process? Enjoy the process. All right. Thank you everyone for commenting, and I value your input, and any questions that you may have, I can try to answer them as well. The second part of my presentation is on something that I've been working on with my students. How many of you, when you were in elementary school, ever heard your teacher say the words that one of you would have the opportunity to be the line leader for the week? Were you the student that was eager for it to be your turn, and you wanted the first opportunity to lead the class down the hallway? Well, for many years, I've had many of my students have jumped at the opportunity to be the line leader. And I'm excited for them to try that role and to work in that, have that opportunity to be a leader. But as a teacher this year, instead of giving my students the job to be the line leader individually, rotating the class list, all the names, and giving every student a chance to be the line leader one after another alphabetically, I decided that this year that I would use leadership teams. And you've heard the adage that says, many hands make the work light. And that is a great opportunity, because when you realize that you're not alone in doing a task, even though many kids want to be the line leader all by themselves, they don't want anyone's help. then you're able to realize that you can lean on other people's expertise and can really become better and efficient, and even improve your skills at leading when you are able to work with a team. As a team, you get to work on negotiation skills. And that's something that my students have had opportunity to do this year, because they have had there's maybe been 3 or 4 people on a team, and there's been more days than people in the group to do a task. So they've had to figure out how to share their responsibility and how to make it fair, because that's the key word in school. And so they've been able to negotiate with each other on who is best, who has the best talents. And that has really helped the kids to really understand that leadership doesn't always have to be just them. It can be a team effort, and they can problem solve, and they can come up with creative solutions, and really to help the team to be successful. The leadership teams were designed to help students develop their leadership skills and identify that they are a leader, and help them to have different opportunities to work in a variety of settings. The leadership teams, or the students were actually given general roles that happen in a normal classroom. They were given like the line leader, the door holder, the caboose, the last person in line to shut the door, turn off the lights, that type of thing. Those roles were actually embedded into the leadership teams. Throughout the year, the students are given and develop the roles that they are given, the titles of the roles that they're given. They enhance their role by looking for things in the classroom, grade level or school, and even sometimes the community that they can improve. Each role must influence the classroom, the school, and maybe even the community, but it has to influence all of those things in a positive way. The leadership teams, they actually meet on a regular basis 2 or 3 times a month to talk about their leadership style, to talk about tasks that need to be accomplished in the month. They do their regular traditional jobs, like I said, the line leader and other things, but they do it in a creative way. When a problem occurs, the team must provide solutions, and I let them discuss solutions and try to think of out-of-the-box answers to solve their problems. I let them know that I'm there to support them, but it's their responsibility to come up with a solution that will work best. And of course, they get to run it by me before they actually put it into implementation, before they actually started. One of my students actually, I had some pillows in the classroom, and if I didn't have enough pillows for every single person to have a pillow, and they said, well, we want everybody to be able to, well, they were fighting over the pillows. And I said, we're not having any more fights over pillows. And they said, well, can you create a schedule for us for the pillows, and for who can use the pillows? And I said, well, I'm pretty sure your parents hired me to teach you math, science, and all these other subjects. I'm sure they did not hire me to create pillow schedules for when each person can use a pillow in the classroom. So I said, come up with a plan, come up with a solution, and I will consider it. So a week went by. Every day they were asking me, can I use the pillows? And I said, it's not mine. You have to come up with it. It's part of your responsibility. Which team is gonna come up with a plan? And they came up with a plan. I took the schedule, posted the schedule, and they came up with a solution. So I always think of ways to give them opportunities to come up with ways to find solutions to problems, minor problems that they have. And some major ones as well. But what I did was, it's important to pick or create an engaging name. So the names that I gave them this year are things like ambassador. Your leadership team are ambassadors. Your leadership team are environmentalists. And so I picked roles and things that they did not necessarily use in their vocabulary on a regular basis, but it was a way for them to get inspired and be excited about being a part of this leadership in the school, and they would tell people, oh, I'm an environmentalist. And they would walk around and say, well, an environmentalist is a person who is concerned about and advocates for the protection of the environment. And they will, the ambassador is someone who's a leader, and they are a person who acts and is a promoter of a specific activity. And I'm a leader, and I have to act this way, and I need to have these characteristics. And they would always come to me and say, oh, I saw this going on in the school. This classroom doesn't recycle. Can we go teach them about recycling? And so they had a whole recycling campaign, and they went around the school, and they talked about recycling to the classrooms, and they had a little challenge for the different grade levels, and they came up with a way for everyone to be more aware of recycling and to really take on their ownership of being an environmentalist. So all the roles that I've given them, the team leadership names that I've given them, have been things that they are really excited about learning, and they're always looking for opportunities for them to use them throughout the school. One thing that's great is that once the school found out about leadership teams, the other teachers and staff have really looked for them to be leaders and help them develop their leadership skills. I say let the students or team come up with the roles and responsibilities of the group. I gave them a few things to work on, but then I also gave them opportunities to expand it. We discussed different types of leaders and their leadership styles. Some of my students, all students are unique, and they have their own skill sets. And so we talk about how different people are leading, how they lead well, what things that they can improve upon. And we always have opportunities where other teams can share how other teams can talk about how the other leadership teams are doing. But really, more importantly, I ask the people that are actually on the team and say, hey, I shared with them the sandwich method, where I say something positive and say something good that your team has done this year, this month, and then they are able to share things that they didn't do as well or things they forgot to do. And then I always end it with another positive thing or something that they can strive to do next time. So I always do the sandwich method with them so that they always leave the meeting and discussions positive and excited about that they're doing a really good job. And then also everybody likes a good reward. So at the end of each month, if each team does their leadership responsibilities well, then they get a chance to go around the school and be helpers in other classrooms. They get to develop their leadership skills in large settings, maybe sometimes in a school assembly or during morning announcements. But then they also have an opportunity to go to classrooms individually and maybe read a book to another student that may be younger than them. So they get opportunities to work in groups and do presentations, and then also do individual things that will help strengthen their leadership skill. I remember earlier in the year, I gave the students an opportunity to, I talked to them about who is a good leader. And I talked to them, we went over good leadership skills. And so then I gave them surprise challenges. And sometimes they'll come to the classroom and they'll have a surprise challenge on their desk or table, and they'll have to work on that challenge with their team. So it's a team building challenge that you could probably do with your group or on your job. But of course, this one is elementary, so you probably have to think of something a little bit harder. But the tasks that they were given were stacking cups. I gave them 30 cups to stack in a pyramid, and which team could stack up the cups the fastest. And you would be shocked and amazed on what I saw. One team had one person who said they were really good at stacking cups, and they stacked up the cups, and one person handed them the cups, other person stacked them, and the tower was beautiful. Then I saw the other team. The other team spent most of the time fighting about who was going to be the leader, and they kept arguing so much that one person would put a cup down, the other person would try to put their cup down, they'd knock each other's cups over. And in the time frame that they had, they only got one row, the bottom row, accomplished with stacking the cups, and they kept knocking down each other's cups because they were so so interested in being the leader that they couldn't follow. And so we stopped and we talked about that. We said, what did you learn from this activity? And they were able to see how leaders, in order to be a good leader, you have to be able to look at other people's skills and see that maybe sometimes they can do something more efficiently. Maybe you don't need to run everything all the time and micromanage. Maybe you can let one person, maybe you can take turns. So they learned a lot in that short little challenge that I gave them, but it was fun. And in the end, they were able to sharpen their skills. And the next time we did the activity, the towers were able to get a little bit higher and they did not fall over every other second. I also talked to my teams about working together and sharing the responsibilities. One time I had a student present, I had a group go to present their presentation or their project to another class. And I reminded them that when you go to do the presentation, make sure that everyone is heard, everybody gets to share something about the project that they learned and they did, and to make sure that you are sharing and letting people know that letting people know that that not just one person did the task. And of course, after I kind of snuck and listened in the back of the classroom, and I heard the presentation, and I realized that only one person talked the whole time, and the other part of the group, they tried to share, but the other person took over, and because that was their natural gift to be the sharer and the talker. And I realized that person's skill in letting other people be a part of their team wasn't being sharpened. And after I talked to them about it afterwards, I said, what did you notice about the team? What did you notice about the presentation? And they said, well, they said, oh, I had a great time sharing my ideas. And I said, well, what about the rest of your team? Did they get a chance to share any of their ideas? Did they get a chance to talk at all? And then they realized that they had they had hawked the whole time, and they didn't let their other teammates share anything. And a week later, this same student had an opportunity to go to an assembly, and they were in the whole class was asked to participate. And this student said, you know what, I'm going to let one of my other classmates participate and be a part of it. And because I get a lot of opportunities to talk and lead, I'm going to let someone else have a turn. So they were learning and developing that sometimes they don't always have to be in the front. They don't always have to take the lead, but they can be share and encourage others to be their very best. And they actually enjoyed just being a part of the group, the whole audience, instead of being on the lead. Even though when other opportunities arise, they still like to be the lead and be over things, but they understand that sometimes it's good to let others have an opportunity to grow and improve their skills. Also, when I talk to my students about their leadership skills, I ask them what are some goals that they have what goals do they have and want to improve on their own. And it's interesting because sometimes on jobs, you don't necessarily get an opportunity all the time to talk to your leader or boss and let them know about an opportunity that you are interested in. And so sometimes on jobs, I believe that it's maybe valuable to go to your employer or your boss and let them know that you're interested in a position, the next phase of leadership on your job. And you might say, is there some way that I could be mentored in this area so that I can, in the future, possibly be hired or interview for that position, but I'd like to be trained or mentored on this area because I'd like to improve my skill set. And that is a way for employees to know that employers to know that their employees are really interested in the company and want to continue to grow. But for my students, we have one-on-one meetings at least once a quarter, where they're able to share their goals for the quarter and and I even asked them, I say, what are things that I can do to help you to sharpen your skills in a specific area? What subject do you want to work more on? And how can I help you to improve that area? One of my students is really, really shy and doesn't like to talk a lot. And so last quarter, he asked if I would encourage him if there's an opportunity to share in front of the class, or if there's an opportunity to share or be a part of a project in the assembly, or in sometimes the larger school productions. He said if I would ask him if this was an opportunity that he could take, if he wanted to use this opportunity as an opportunity that he can take to sharpen his leadership skills. And just recently, he actually he had an opportunity to read something, or an opportunity to actually participate more in something actually on the stage. And he actually opted for going on stage and doing a project in front of the group. And so I keep noticing that he is stepping out of his comfort zone, and I'm encouraging him to do that and letting him know that it's a safe place, that this classroom is a safe place, that all students are encouraged to learn and try new things, and that we're going to encourage them, support them, and let students share the opportunity to let them know that they're doing a great job and that they tried something new, and always share positive things that they are doing well, so that they will continue to step out of their comfort zones, and they will continue to be the leaders that I know that's within them, and to continue to grow. Because I know as working with the younger elementary students, that this is the time where things are said to them that I hope are encouraging them to develop their leadership skills and want to be leaders in the future. What it's on the PowerPoint, it says educate and discuss with students qualities that a leader should have and leaders should not have. That's something that they should have a clear understanding. Like I said, I give students varying opportunities to work individually and in groups, and work with other people. A good leader takes a little more than their share of the blame when things go bad, and a little less of their share of the credit when things go well. I hope that's something that is said about leaders that you know, and the type of leader that you are able to encourage, to let people know that sometimes it's a team effort, and we work hard to help things to go successfully. Thank you for coming to my my presentation on strategies to develop leadership skills for engagement. And I hope that the things that I've shared are useful to you in your endeavors. Thank you. See you at the conference. Thank you.